Hi everyone, welcome back to the Maker's Gonna Learn YouTube channel. My name is Mary Catherine and today we'll be talking about Procreate and doing a step-by-step tutorial for you. All right, so we're going to open up our Procreate app, which you can purchase and download on your iPad that is compatible with Procreate. So we're gonna open up our gallery. So when you open up the app, you will come straight to the gallery. This is where you can organize your drawings. You can keep them in folders. You can delete them. So you can keep all your drawings nice and organized. Up at the right, we have our plus sign icon. And this is going to open a new canvas for us. Now, when you open that, you can see there are pre-installed canvas sizes. You can pick one of these, or you can make your own size canvas that is specific to the project you're working on. But for now, we'll just click screen size at the top, and the canvas will fill the screen. All right, so this is our Procreate canvas. When you open it up, you're going to be able to go back to your gallery if you want to. On the left, we see these different icons here. An action toolbar will pop down, adjustments, selection. We'll talk about these tools later. So that's what's on the left. On the right side, we have our brush tool, smudge tool, eraser tool. We'll talk about these more. Our layer panel and our color wheel. So we're going to go through these one by one and talk about them. So the first, we have our brush library. And so when you have Procreate, there are lots of pre-installed brushes for you to use. You can take lots of time and just go through each brush set. We have sketching, inking, drawing, painting, calligraphy, charcoals, lots of different types of brushes that are already pre-installed on the app. So we'll just pick a couple just to show. I always like to use a pencil. So you can shade with your pencil, you can draw with your pencil. The iPad pencil will work like a normal pencil would. The iPad pencil responds to pressure, tilt, and speed. And so the speed you're going to draw slow, the pressure you're going to put on that pencil is going to change how that brush comes out on your canvas. Also the tilt is going to change how the pencil reacts, and any brush that reacts on your page. So that's what's nice about the iPad pencil, is it's going to react like a normal pen or pencil or paintbrush would. Let's pick an inking. I like this inking brush a lot. There's just some plain inking brushes. Let's go to drawing, lots of different textures. Lots of things to play around with in the brush panel. I encourage you to just continue to pick brushes and try them out. Adjusting the size, adjusting the opacity, adjusting the way you put pressure on them, the way they layer. I would just encourage you to go through these and just practice and see how you can get used to using the iPad pencil and see how you can get used to using the Apple Pencil. So we're going to take all this away. So we're going to clear our layer. We'll talk more about layers in just a minute. So that's our brushes. Those put down paint. So let's just put a little more paint down so we can talk about the eraser. The eraser tool is here. Obviously the eraser is going to take away from that paint that you just put down. You can erase with normal erasers. You can also pick any brush in the brush library to erase with, which is really interesting for layering your artwork, for having texture, so you can actually erase with some of these different brushes for a different look in your art piece. Now let's talk about the smudge tool. Let's go ahead and put some more paint down. Ooh, that's a little big. Let's put some more paint down on our page. Just give one example of the smudge tool, which is a blending tool for Procreate. It's really helpful if you like watercolor or painting, It's just ways to smooth and blend your colors together. So we picked the smudge tool. It's right here in the center. And again, with the smudge tool, you can pick any brush in the brush library to be your smudge tool. So you can have lots of different effects and textures as you blend and smudge. All right, let's clear that away. All right, so we have gone through brushes, smudge tool, eraser tool. Now let's go ahead and go into the corner, and you have seen me use this color picker. So I picked some colors using this color wheel. The outside of the wheel are all the color hues. So we'll stop on maybe a blue. The inside of the color picker will be the hue and the inside of the color picker is saturation. So dull to bright, light to dark, and dull to bright. So you have a wide variety of colors that you can pick in Procreate, which is so nice. So you have lots of colors at your disposal. So I'm here picking different shades of blue all in the center because the center continues to be in the blue hue. And so I will continue just picking different shades of blue, which I really like. Also in the color picker, down below this color wheel, you have your color history. So this will continually fill and change as you use different colors, but it always is going to have the history of the colors that you used. So that's nice to know. If you forget what you just used, you can come to your history and find it. Underneath, you will have your color palette where you can save colors that you've been using and want to remember. As you go through this bottom piece, so here's the disc, the color disc. Well, another way to look at it is the classic view. Harmony view talks about some different color theory, how to make triadic colors, how to make complementary colors, value, you can put in a hex code right here. So you can change all your color values here or put in your hex code right here if you have a specific color number you know you want to put into Procreate, and it will find it. You also have all your palettes, if you've ever created color palettes, on the side that you can go through. So let's go ahead and create a new color palette. So I'm going to press plus, create new palette. And that is going to become, if it has the blue check mark, that's going to become our default color palette. Let's go ahead and name it. Let's name this as Beginner Procreate. And so now if you go back to your color disc, our Beginner Procreate color palette should be here. Obviously there's nothing in it because we haven't saved any colors. So let's pick a couple of colors. Let's pick a nice turquoise blue, put that down. Maybe a lighter color, put that down. So whatever is in your color picker, let's go back to our palette, we can save. So we can save that one, we can save this one. Let's maybe go to a pink or a purple, put that down, and we can save that color in our palette. Maybe an orange, maybe a yellow, green. So any color that you pick and want to use, you can save here in your palette. You can also delete them by holding them down. You can delete your swatch. You can move these swatches around. And that is really exciting. I love keeping all the colors I've used in a certain art piece so I can remember and not trying to make the color again. Another nice thing about Procreate is you can tap and hold on any color that is on your screen, and you can draw with it again, or you can save it. So if there's a color on your screen that you want to find again, just tap and hold and the color picker will find it for you on the color wheel. All right, so with Procreate, you use your Apple Pencil, and it is a wonderful tool. Normally, other stylists don't react as well as the Apple Pencil would, but you also can use your fingers if you need to. I'm going to show you some gestures that Procreate has built in that you can use with your fingers. So 2 fingers will undo what you just did. 3-finger tap will redo what you just did. So I'll 3-finger tap and pull that piece back. So I can 2-finger tap, take it all away, 3-finger tap, bring it back. If you don't want to do this with your fingers, you also can do this down here. These are your undo and redo buttons, which I use all the time. So let's put a couple more things down. So we'll draw some color. So let's do a 2-finger tap, undo, 3-finger tap, redo. And if you hold 2 fingers down, it will undo very fast. And if you hold 3 fingers down, it will redo very fast. You can also, as you've seen me do, pinch to zoom your canvas. You can rotate your canvas with your fingers. So you can pinch and zoom and rotate. You can also take 3 fingers and scrub them across your screen to clear your entire screen. You can do a 3-finger pull down and it will pull this copy and paste tab open for you. So here in the copy paste tab we have cut, copy, copy all, duplicate, cut, paste, and paste. So let's show some examples of this. All right, let's draw a couple of things. Maybe a simple flower or a simple little heart to get started with. All right, so if we pull 3 fingers down, we can copy all, which copies our layer. We can also duplicate it, which will duplicate our layer. So now we have 2. All right, so far we've talked about brushes, smudging, erasers, some gestures, our color wheel. Now let's talk about this icon here, layers. This is one of the important benefits of digital art because you can add layer and layer and layer and none of your art will be disturbed. You can change things, you can erase things. That's such a great way that digital artists have a benefit versus just trying to paint on a canvas. Once it's there, it's pretty much there. So now with layers, we can delete layers, add. So let's show some examples of this. If the layer is blue, then you are drawing on that layer. So now we'll see what is on that layer. So we drew a little bit on our layer, it's blue, and that's the layer we're drawing on. If we add a layer, this is the layer on top. So now we can draw again right on top of that layer. But these 2 layers are separate, so we can turn off this layer by clicking that checkbox, or we can turn off the bottom layer by checking that checkbox. But if the layer is highlighted in blue, then you know that's the layer you're drawing on. So if I draw on this layer, it's not going to show up on this bottom layer. We also have our background layer, which is below. Right now it is set to white, but you can change the color of your background layer to any color you would like, or you can turn your background color off. So then we just have our canvas with a graph, but there's no background color. Normally I like to keep my background color on unless I am exporting a file to be a transparent file. So there's our background color and our 2 layers. You can pinch the 2 layers together to merge them together. So now we have one design on one layer. Let's go ahead and click the layer and this panel on the side will show. You can rename the layer. We'll name the layer blue. Oops. Blue. Thank you. So we renamed that layer blue. We can click on it. We can select the layer. We can copy the layer. We can fill the layer. We can clear the layer. Let's go ahead and clear the layer. Clear. Now let's add one more layer. Let's go ahead and draw a couple of shapes. I'm going to draw a circle on this layer. I'm going to add a different color layer. Draw a triangle. Let's add another layer. And draw a rectangle. It's not a very pretty color. Add another layer. And draw a square. All right, so you can see all of these layers are layered, but it is not one art piece. It is multiple art pieces layered together. So we can come and we can click on a layer and drag it to change the position of the layer. So we can continue to move around what's on top, what's on bottom, but don't be confused by which layer is the drawing layer because it will be highlighted as blue. So right now the layer on top is not the layer that we are drawing on because this layer is highlighted in blue. So you can click on any layer to change which layer you want to highlight. You can also merge layers by pinching them together like I showed before. You can change the opacity of the layer by clicking in and dragging this down, which is helpful if you need to trace something so you can see part of it. You can slide the layer to the left and that will delete your layer. Let's go ahead and delete this layer as well. Oh, there's nothing on it, so there's nothing to delete. Let's add one more layer and draw a couple more things. I'm going to pick a pencil, sketching pencil, and I like that color. All right, let's draw a couple things. Let's just draw a couple hearts. All right, so we've got a couple hearts on our screen. We're going to work with the selection tool now. All right, so up here we have the selection tool. If you click the selection tool, it will select everything in your screen. So you can move it around, adjust it to how you would like. Down at the bottom, we have different things you can do with your layer that's selected. You can have snapping and magnetics on, like you just saw. You will be able to move your layer in straight lines, and you can also center it. It'll snap to the center. Right now, let's just turn those off. So now we can move it any direction we want. We don't have any help or any snapping. You can make it bigger or smaller. That is freeform. You can change the dimensions. We'll reset that. So a uniform, we'll keep a uniform scaling up or down. Distort, we'll change the perspective, which is really cool. And warp will let you fold your drawing over itself. So these are just different things to play with. And we'll go ahead and reset that. Now let's go ahead and go to the lasso tool right here. We're going to click that. This lets us choose which part of our artboard we'd like to select. So I drew a circle around that heart and now I'm going to select it, which lets me move it around, transform it, scale it up or down. Down at the bottom you can see I can flip it horizontally, I can flip it vertically, I can rotate it, and I can let it be. And so we can lasso any of these hearts and we can move them off the canvas, or we could flip them, or we could rotate them just slightly, or you can also rotate using this green circle and you can rotate how you would like to. So we'll just move that over and keep them there. Okay, so far we have talked about brushes, smudge tool, eraser, layers, color picker. On the left side, we've talked about selection, our lasso tool. Now we're on to the adjustments menu. I don't use the adjustments menu a whole lot, but it's definitely something that's worth taking a look at. With the adjustments menu, you can change the color of what's on your artboard, the saturation, the hue, the brightness. So we can change the color if we want. So we'll make our orange hearts red. Go back to adjustments. You can work on color balance, which is similar to what we just did. Curves. So in these adjustments panel, there's lots of different adjustments you can play with, but I'm not going to go into that a whole lot because I don't want to overwhelm you. This is supposed to be just a beginner's guide to Procreate. So we will just forget about the adjustments panel for right now. We'll go over one more to the actions tool right there. So the first part in actions is add. So when you click add, you can insert a photo, you can insert a file, you can add text. So let's go ahead and practice some of those. We can insert a photo. Any of these photos would be nice. A little leaf. Not sure what you would use that for, but there's that. If you wanted to insert a photo, you could insert a photo for reference if you were needing to trace on top of it. You can also add text. So we'll write some text. Okay, where's my keyboard? There it is. And we'll just write heart. If you select all of the text, you can change the that would be the word font. If you select the text, you can change the font, you can change the size, you can change kerning, which is the space between the letters, you can change tracking, you can change leading, which leading is normally if you have multiple lines of words. You can change the opacity. So that is adding text, which is really nice if you are doing anything with text. Let's go back to that panel. So we saw we could insert files and photos and add text. Let's come over to Canvas. In Canvas, you can crop and resize your canvas. So if you wanted your canvas to be a square, you could go ahead and make that a square. If you want a drawing guide selected, which would be like a grid or a graph behind to help you draw, you can turn drawing guides on. Let's go over to share. When you hit share, you can go through the different types of files that you would want to export your artwork as. We have a Procreate file, a Photoshop file, a PDF, JPEG, PNG, and a TIFF file. So those are different ways that you can export whatever you draw on Procreate. Thank you so much for watching my video on Procreate and the step-by-step tutorial. If you would like to make some money with your Cricut, go ahead and sign up for the free webinar linked down below. Thanks, bye.